Today we're going to assemble your priority Gemini. Grab some household tools, some scissors, a Phillips screwdriver, and let's start by opening the box. Now grab your parts box, open it up, and let's see what's inside. We've got our pedals, rear reflector, a box with our Smart.Shift charger, Smart.Shift manual, pinion manual, TRP warranty card, an owner's manual link, priority owner's manual, a link to this video, and all of our tools for assembly. Let's remove all the packaging material from the bike. Now that we've removed all the packaging material from the bike, let's install the handlebars. So start by turning the stem around. So we're going to loosen these pinch bolts with our 4mm Allen key. They don't have to come all the way out. Also grab your 5mm Allen key and loosen the headset top cap bolt. Turn that stem around. We're going to keep it so that the fork is oriented such that the brake caliper is here on the left side, or the non-drive side. Now, snug up the headset top cap bolt. This doesn't have to be super tight, just snug. 2 to 3 Newton meters for those of you with a torque wrench. I also like to orient this logo up here so I can see it while I'm riding. Now grab your 4mm Allen key and tighten the stem pinch bolts. These should be 5.2 Newton meters for those of you with a torque wrench. Or nice and snug for those of you using the 4mm Allen here. Now let's install the handlebars. First, use your 4mm Allen key to remove all the faceplate bolts. While I'm doing this, I'm using the faceplate to hold them in place. Just set everything aside for the moment. Now let's grab those handlebars, and as you're positioning the handlebars in front of the stem, take a look at the cable routing. Now we've got, kind of in order, we've got your rear brake line and your shift wire running here on the outside, wrapping around the left side of the bike. Note how nothing's tangled and nothing's wrapped around each other. And here behind them is the front brake line. So that is the proper position for those cables. Now hold the handlebars in place, grab your stem faceplate and bolts, and start threading them in. So as you're going through the bolts, switch around, tightening them all evenly as you go, and being aware of how much space there is between the faceplate and the stem itself, because you want an even space all the way around. As you're starting to get close to tight, rotate the bars up. Now the faceplate bolts are tight enough to hold the handlebars in place. You can see that there's this convenient emblem here to help position the handlebars. So now go around and in a star pattern, tighten everything up. Once again, it's 5.2 Newton meters on these for those of you with the torque wrench, or nice and tight. Let's move on to the pedal. First, identify your pedals. One's marked with an R sticker and one is marked with an L sticker for right and left. If they're missing the sticker, you can identify the left pedal by the hash marks on the spindle here. It's important to note because the left pedal is reverse threaded. So let's start by installing the right pedal. I'm going to position the crank arm where I have easy access to it and just start threading it in by hand. Once the pedal is nearly tight, grab the rear wheel with one hand, grab the tool with the other, and turn it hard against the wheel until the tool leaves an imprint in the palm of your hand. Let's do the left pedal. Now position the crank arms so you have easy access to the left side. Grab your left pedal. This one's reverse thread, so that means it turns counterclockwise. Start by installing it by hand as far as you can turn it. Now grab your 15mm wrench to finish it off. Once again, I'm holding the rear wheel and turning the tool against it until the tool leaves an imprint in the palm of my hand. Now we're just going to double check that the crank arm bolts and the crank bolts are snug. Grab your 10mm Allen key, hold the drive side crank, and with the other hand, just make sure that crank bolt there is nice and snug. Now take your 4mm Allen key and do the same for the crank arm pinch bolts. It's all right if there's no movement in these. That means they're already tight. Do the same thing on the drive side. Now install the seat and seat post. You might have to loosen the seat post collar. Go ahead and make sure it's in there past the minimum insertion line. Then snug that up to 6 to 8 Newton meters. Now it's time to install the front wheel. So grab your 6mm Allen key and pick up the front end of the bike so you have access to the front through bolt. Turn it counterclockwise to loosen. Remove the through axle and remove this packaging material. Cast that aside. Grab your front wheel, and you want to also make sure to remove this pad separator in the disc brake caliper. Now grab that front wheel, keep an eye on the disc brake rotor, and make sure it goes in between the pads in the brake caliper. Now that the brake rotor is in position, you can slide the wheel into the fork dropouts and insert the through bolt all the way through. Now turn it clockwise to snug it up. And this is 10 Newton meters for those of you with the torque wrench, or nice and snug. Now for the front reflector, slide it over next to the stem and use your Phillips screwdriver to tighten it in place. Now for the rear reflector, spread the clamp over the seat post, grab the bolt, thread it in from the back side over here, and use your Phillips screwdriver to tighten it in place. Let's talk about charging your Gemini. This is the charger that ships with the bike. You can see it comes with an international style plug. So if you're in the US, you're going to want to swap that out. So here's how you do that. I'm using a 5mm Allen key, but you can use just about anything like a pen to push down this little button here, and then you push up on that plug. You can remove it, then go ahead, pop this in place, and push down so you hear a little click. Now you're good to charge. This is the charging port on the bike. There's some extra wire hidden inside the frame if you need a little bit more slack. There's a plug in the end, so when you're ready to charge, just remove that. And now, from the end of the charger, you'll find the matching plug type, and there's a specific orientation for this, so just be aware of that when you go to plug it in. Plug it in, use your standard wall outlet, and wait until the green light on the charger is solid, and then the bike is fully charged. Then you can unplug, reinstall the cap on the charging port, and just reinsert any extra wire back into the frame. Now you're good to ride. The Pinion app allows you to control various functions on the bike and check the charge and what gear you're in. To install the Pinion app, go to your App Store or Google Play, search for Pinion Smart.Shift. Just go ahead and open the app or download it if you haven't already. Go to Add Device, and it'll start scanning. Hold the large paddle on the shifter for at least 5 beeps, and that'll put it into pairing mode. Then you can go and add device. You'll see a blue light is flashing on the gearbox. I'm going to rename this just so I remember which bike is which. I'm going to call it my Gemini. Now we can go to configure. You can see this, we can update. I'm going to hold off on the update for the moment. But we can see the charge here is 23%. We're in first gear. Now we're in second gear. And just a note here, this bike isn't enabled with start select or pre-select, but you can always manually shift it. You can see any notifications if there's an error or any service. And in settings, you can change what's called the trigger mapping of your bike. So that is which shifter shifts in which direction. And we can also go through a calibration process if we want. So I'm going to calibrate, and you can hear it doing its thing. All set. Now as a final step, go ahead and inflate the tires. The recommended range for these is 25 to 50 psi. If you're a heavy rider and doing mostly road stuff, I would recommend the higher end of the pressure spectrum. If you're riding more off-road and or you're a lighter rider, you might want to run lower pressure for more grip and more bump absorption. But now that we've finished the assembly, go through and check every bolt that you touched and every one that you didn't and make sure they are nice and snug. But don't forget to bring the bike down by your local bike shop for a safety check before your first ride. If you have any questions about the Gemini, its assembly, or anything else, our customer service team is available 7 days a week and we're happy to help.